Life often places us at crossroads where we feel powerless, unsure, or stuck. There are moments when we long for a breakthrough, a change that can only come from a higher power. This message is a reminder that no one can hinder what God has ordained for your life. When God opens a door, it is divinely aligned for your purpose, and no human interference can close it. It's a call to faith, patience, and unwavering trust that the path laid before you is intentional, even if it seems uncertain or challenging at the moment. This sermon encourages you to embrace the opportunities God provides to step boldly into new chapters and to release fear, doubt, and hesitation. Understanding that God's timing is perfect requires us to recognize that there is a divine rhythm at work in our lives, a rhythm that often doesn't align with our personal schedules, desires, or expectations. We live in a world that demands instant results and immediate gratification, and it is easy to feel frustrated or impatient when things don't happen as quickly as we would like. Yet, the very essence of faith lies in believing that there is a higher plan, a purpose that exceeds what we can see or comprehend. Each moment of waiting is not wasted time, but a season designed to prepare, equip, and mold us for the opportunities ahead. It is in the waiting that our character is refined, our patience is strengthened, and our trust in God's wisdom deepens. Recognizing that God's timing is perfect does not mean that life is always easy or that the waiting period is devoid of challenges. In fact, it often comes with tests, trials, and moments of doubt, but these experiences are not random or meaningless. They are purposeful. They serve as a crucible in which we are strengthened, as a preparation for the breakthrough that is to come. When we begin to view waiting as a necessary part of the journey rather than an obstacle, we shift our perspective from frustration to anticipation, from doubt to hope. Perfect timing also teaches us to release control. Human beings are naturally inclined to take matters into their own hands when we feel delayed, thinking that if we act on our own, we can speed up the process. But this mindset often leads to frustration, missteps, and missed opportunities. Trusting in God's timing requires surrender, an acknowledgement that we do not have the full picture, that our understanding is limited, and that the door God is preparing may not yet be visible to us. Surrender does not mean passivity. It means actively living in faith, preparing ourselves spiritually, emotionally, and mentally for the moment when the door is finally opened. It is a posture of readiness, a cultivation of resilience, and a commitment to remain steadfast even when the path seems unclear. Each season of waiting allows us to grow in ways that will support our success when the door finally swings open. Moreover, God's timing is perfect because it aligns circumstances, people, and events in ways we could never orchestrate on our own. The divine orchestration ensures that the door opens at the exact moment when we are prepared to walk through it, when the resources and relationships needed to sustain the journey are in place, and when our hearts are ready to embrace the responsibility that comes with the opportunity. Premature advancement often leads to failure, setbacks, or missed potential because we are not fully equipped to handle what lies ahead. The wisdom of perfect timing prevents us from moving too early or too late and places us in a position to fully receive the blessings intended for us. Understanding this requires patience, discernment, and an unwavering belief that what is meant for us will not be denied. It is also important to recognize that the perfection of God's timing is a demonstration of His love and care for us. Every delay is not a denial, but an act of divine protection, ensuring that we are not harmed or led astray by circumstances beyond our readiness or comprehension. When we embrace this truth, we shift our focus from what we want now to what God is preparing for us, cultivating a deeper sense of trust and contentment. Faith is strengthened when we see that each delay is purposeful, each season of waiting is instructive, and each moment is part of a grander design that is ultimately for our good. As we navigate life's uncertainties, understanding that God's timing is perfect invites us to approach every situation with patience, faith, and hope. It encourages us to release the pressure of rushing, to let go of anxiety about the future, and to focus on cultivating the qualities, skills, and mindset needed to step boldly into the opportunities that await. Perfect timing is a call to live with intentionality, to embrace the present, and to trust that when the door is ready to open, it will do so in a way that is aligned with our ultimate purpose and highest good. It is a reminder that we are not alone in our journey, that there's divine oversight, and that the right moments, the right opportunities, and the right people will converge in perfect harmony when God's timing is fulfilled. This understanding transforms the way we view delays, challenges, and waiting periods. No longer are they merely inconveniences or sources of frustration. They become evidence of preparation, alignment, and divine orchestration. Recognizing that God's timing is perfect empowers us to remain patient, resilient, and faithful, confident that the door we are waiting for will open at precisely the right time, and that we will be ready to walk through it with strength, grace, and purpose. A trust over fear is the key to divine doors, and it begins with understanding that fear is often a natural response to the unknown. Life presents us with moments of uncertainty, transitions, and opportunities that feel risky or overwhelming, and it is easy for the human mind to focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. Fear is a protective mechanism designed to alert us to danger, but when it dominates our thinking, it can become a barrier to the blessings and opportunities that God has prepared for us. Choosing trust over fear requires a conscious decision to rely on God's promises rather than the limitations of our own understanding. Trust is not passive. It is active, intentional, and rooted in the belief that the door God opens is divinely ordained for our growth, success, and fulfillment. Every time we face hesitation or doubt, it is an invitation to choose faith instead of allowing fear to dictate our actions. Trust grows through knowledge and experience. The more we understand God's faithfulness, the more natural it becomes to lean on Him rather than allowing fear to paralyze us. Reflecting on past moments when challenges seemed insurmountable, yet doors eventually opened, reinforces the truth that God is in control. These experiences are reminders that fear, while real, does not have the final say over our lives. Each opportunity we are presented with is not random. It is a carefully prepared pathway designed to bring us closer to our purpose. By remembering past victories and divine interventions, we cultivate the confidence needed to face new doors with courage. Trust replaces fear when we recognize that God's plan is bigger, wiser, and more capable than anything we could imagine on our own. Fear often arises because we focus on what we cannot control, but trust shifts our attention to what is certain: God's faithfulness, wisdom, and love. When we trust, we acknowledge that we do not have to have all the answers, see the full picture, or manipulate circumstances to succeed. Trust is a surrender that allows God to work in ways beyond our comprehension. It is understanding that the door that is opening may require patience, courage, and preparation, but ultimately it is aligned with our highest good. Every step we take in trust is a declaration that we believe God's power is greater than the fears that try to hold us back. Fear may try to convince us that we are not ready, that the timing is wrong, or that the risk is too great, but trust reminds us that God equips those He calls. Choosing trust over fear also requires action. Trust is not mere hope or wishful thinking. It is a dynamic force that propels us to step forward even when the outcome is uncertain. It requires making decisions and taking risks that align with the doors God is opening. Inaction, often fueled by fear, can delay our destiny, while trust prompts us to move with confidence, knowing that divine guidance accompanies each step. Action fueled by trust demonstrates faith, and faith, in turn, strengthens trust. The more we act in alignment with God's plan, the more we realize that fear is temporary, but the rewards of obedience and courage are lasting. Faithful trust also transforms our perception of challenges. Fear tends to exaggerate obstacles, making mountains seem insurmountable and difficulties seem permanent. Trust, however, gives us a lens through which we can see opportunities within challenges, lessons within struggles, and growth within adversity. It reframes difficulties as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks, reinforcing the belief that the door God opens is accompanied by the tools, resources, and guidance needed to walk through successfully. Fear limits our vision and keeps us confined to the familiar, but trust expands our perspective, allowing us to embrace new possibilities with hope and confidence. Another essential aspect of choosing trust over fear is cultivating patience. Often, fear is amplified when outcomes do not materialize quickly or when doors seem delayed. Trust teaches us to wait with expectation, understanding that God's timing is perfect and that each moment of preparation has a purpose. Patience and trust prevents impulsive decisions driven by fear, ensuring that we step into opportunities fully prepared and aligned with divine will. It strengthens our character, deepens our reliance on God, and ensures that when the door opens, we walk through with clarity and readiness. Ultimately, trust over fear is a lifestyle of faith. It is a commitment to believe that God's plans are for our good, that He is orchestrating every detail, and that no obstacle can thwart the path He has prepared. Fear may arise, doubts may surface, and challenges may appear, but trust anchors us in the certainty that the doors He opens cannot be closed by human hands. By choosing trust over fear, we step boldly into our destiny, confident that each divine door leads to growth, blessing, and the fulfillment of God's promises. Resistance is natural but not final, and understanding this principle is crucial for anyone navigating life's journey toward purpose and destiny. Whenever we attempt to move forward, pursue a new opportunity, or step into a door that God has opened, we are likely to encounter opposition. Resistance can take many forms: external obstacles, criticism from others, societal limitations, or even internal doubts and fears. It can feel discouraging, heavy, and sometimes overwhelming. However, resistance is not a reflection of the value of what we are pursuing. Rather, it is often a sign that we are on the right path. Many times, the things worth having, the doors worth walking through, and the opportunities meant for our growth are met with resistance precisely because they carry significance. Resistance tests our commitment and determination. It forces us to evaluate whether our desire to move forward is rooted in fleeting ambition or divine alignment. True breakthroughs are rarely free of obstacles. They are forged in the fire of challenge. Resistance is like a refining process, stripping away distractions, strengthening character, and cultivating resilience. Each time we face opposition and choose to persist, we reinforce the muscles of perseverance, faith, and trust. It is through these moments that we develop the confidence to navigate future doors, knowing that challenges are not permanent barriers, but temporary tests along the journey. One of the most important lessons about resistance is that it is never the final word. What may seem like an immovable wall, an insurmountable challenge, or a discouraging setback is not permanent. God's doors are divinely designed, and no amount of resistance, whether human or circumstantial, can permanently shut them once He has opened them. Understanding this truth requires a mindset shift from seeing resistance as defeat to seeing it as temporary friction on the path to victory. Resistance may slow progress, it may demand patience, and it may require creative thinking or strategy, but it cannot prevent what is divinely ordained from manifesting. Recognizing that resistance is temporary allows us to persevere without despair, to continue moving forward even when obstacles appear, and to trust that every challenge carries a purpose in shaping us for the opportunity ahead. Resistance also teaches discernment. Not all opposition is external. Some of it comes from within ourselves. Self-doubt, fear, anxiety, and indecision often serve as internal resistance that threatens to derail our progress. Recognizing these inner obstacles is essential to maintaining momentum. When we confront internal resistance, we learn to replace limiting thoughts with faith, to challenge fears with trust, and to stay focused on the bigger picture rather than immediate discomfort. By mastering internal resistance, we cultivate the inner strength and clarity needed to navigate external challenges with confidence. Persistence in the face of resistance is a demonstration of faith in action. It is easy to remain steadfast when the path is smooth, but true courage and conviction are revealed when we continue to move forward despite difficulties. Each act of persistence strengthens our resilience, builds our capacity for endurance, and confirms that we are capable of walking through the doors God has opened, no matter how formidable the opposition may seem. Resistance often exposes weaknesses and gaps, and by confronting it head-on, we acquire the wisdom, skills, and fortitude required for long-term success. Another important aspect of resistance is its power to clarify priorities. When we encounter opposition, it forces us to evaluate what truly matters. what we are willing to fight for, and where our faith is rooted. Resistance can reveal distractions, detours, and false expectations that might otherwise divert our attention. By facing resistance, we gain clarity on our purpose, align ourselves with God's plan, and develop a clearer understanding of which doors are truly meant for us. Resistance, therefore, becomes not only a challenge, but also a guide, helping us refine our path and focus on the opportunities that align with our destiny. Ultimately, resistance is natural, expected, and even necessary in the journey toward divine doors, but it is never the final word. It is a temporary force designed to test, strengthen, and prepare us. Those who persist in faith, maintain focus, and embrace challenges with resilience discover that resistance cannot withstand the power of God's timing, promises, and purposes. By recognizing that resistance is part of the process and refusing to let it dictate our course, we position ourselves to walk boldly into every door God has opened, confident that obstacles are merely stepping stones and that the ultimate outcome is already secured. Resistance may be present, but it is never final. Every closed door redirects you to the right path, and understanding this principle is essential for navigating life with faith, patience, and discernment. It is common to feel discouraged, frustrated, or even defeated when we encounter rejection, setbacks, or doors that remain closed despite our efforts. Often, we measure success by immediate access or by the doors that open easily, forgetting that life's timing and divine guidance are far wiser than our own plans. A closed door is not necessarily a denial. It is often a protective measure, a redirection, or a preparation for something greater. Understanding this requires us to shift our perspective from seeing closures as failures to viewing them as part of a purposeful design, where each closed door nudges us toward a path better aligned with our destiny. Closed doors are often redirections that keep us from paths that may appear appealing, but are not intended for our growth or purpose. What we perceive as rejection or denial can actually be divine protection, sparing us from challenges, mistakes, or circumstances that could hinder our progress. Life's most meaningful opportunities are rarely accidental. They are divinely orchestrated, timed with precision, and often preceded by experiences designed to prepare us for what is to come. When we recognize that every closure is not arbitrary but intentional, we develop trust in God's wisdom and timing. This trust allows us to remain calm, patient, and hopeful even when we cannot yet see the next door or understand why certain opportunities remain out of reach. Redirected paths often bring unforeseen blessings, resources, and connections that were not visible when we were focused on the closed door. The human mind tends to fixate on what is immediately in front of us, but divine redirection expands our vision, showing us opportunities and possibilities beyond our limited understanding. Sometimes the right path may require us to wait, to grow, or to develop new skills before the opportunity presents itself. Closed doors encourage us to reflect, reassess, and refocus on what truly aligns with our purpose. They create space for clarity, insight, and preparation that allows us to walk into the right path with confidence, knowing that we are fully equipped for what lies ahead. A key aspect of understanding redirection is patience. Closed doors often test our willingness to wait and trust the process. Impatience can lead to frustration, impulsive decisions, or pursuing opportunities that are misaligned with our true calling. By practicing patience, we allow God's timing to unfold naturally, ensuring that the path we ultimately walk is secure, purposeful, and fulfilling. Patience is not passive. It is an active state of faith, trust, and readiness. It is the ability to remain steadfast, hopeful, and proactive while trusting that the closed door is steering us toward the right place at the right time. Closed doors also teach resilience and perseverance. Life will inevitably present obstacles, rejections, and setbacks, and how we respond to them determines our ability to move forward. Rather than succumbing to disappointment, we can choose to see closed doors as opportunities to strengthen our character, sharpen our focus, and cultivate determination. Each closure becomes a lesson in endurance, helping us develop the emotional and spiritual fortitude necessary to navigate future challenges. Resilience allows us to face redirection with courage, embracing the unknown with faith rather than fear, and trusting that each step is leading us closer to the door that aligns with our divine purpose. Furthermore, closed doors provide opportunities for self-discovery and reflection. When one door closes, we are often prompted to examine our goals, motivations, and priorities. We gain insight into what we truly value, what we are passionate about, and what aligns with our higher calling. This reflection allows us to refine our path, release distractions, and focus on opportunities that resonate with our purpose. It is a process of realignment where each closed door acts as a compass, guiding us toward paths that fulfill our potential, enhance our growth, and position us for the blessings that await. Ultimately, every closed door is a redirection rather than a dead end. It is a reminder that God's plan is greater than our expectations and that He is always guiding us toward the path that best serves our purpose, growth, and fulfillment. By trusting in divine timing, practicing patience, and embracing the lessons within every closure, we position ourselves to walk confidently toward the doors that lead to our destiny. Closed doors are not a sign of failure. They are an invitation to trust, to grow, and to follow the path that is perfectly aligned with the life we are meant to live. Each closure is a redirection towards something greater, a necessary step in the journey toward the doors that God has intentionally prepared for us, and a demonstration that no force can prevent the fulfillment of His plans. Faith requires action, not just belief, and understanding this principle is crucial for walking through the doors God opens in our lives. Belief alone, while essential, is not sufficient to bring about the transformation, opportunities, and breakthroughs that God has prepared. Faith is an active force, a living energy that compels us to move, step out, and engage with the opportunities presented to us. It is not passive waiting or mere hope. It is choosing to trust God while taking intentional steps toward the fulfillment of His promises. Action grounded in faith demonstrates our confidence in God's timing, wisdom, and plan, and it positions us to fully receive the blessings intended for us. Faith-driven action begins with courage. When God opens a door, stepping through it often requires leaving behind familiarity, comfort, or security. It may involve taking risks, confronting fears, or venturing into the unknown. Courage is the bridge between belief and action. Without it, fear can paralyze us, and opportunities may pass by untouched. Faith compels us to act despite uncertainty, knowing that the divine hand guiding us is greater than the challenges we face. Each step taken in courage is a declaration that we trust God's plan more than our own understanding, and it affirms that our belief is not passive but alive and transformative. Action fueled by faith also requires discernment. God's doors are purposeful, but not every opportunity that appears to be an open door aligns with His will. Faith requires us to pray, seek guidance, and cultivate spiritual awareness to distinguish between doors that lead to destiny and those that are distractions. Taking action without discernment may result in missteps, setbacks, or unnecessary struggles. Therefore, faith is both the motivation to move forward and the wisdom to move in alignment with God's plan. It teaches us to balance boldness with prudence, initiative with patience, and risk with careful consideration. Another essential aspect of faith in action is perseverance. Walking through God's door often comes with challenges, resistance, and moments of doubt. Faith does not guarantee an easy path, but it guarantees divine accompaniment and guidance. Perseverance fueled by faith allows us to continue moving forward even when progress is slow, circumstances are difficult, or obstacles arise. Each step taken in perseverance reinforces our trust in God and strengthens our character, equipping us to handle the responsibilities and opportunities that await beyond the door. Faith without action stagnates, but faith expressed through persistent effort produces growth, opportunities, and eventual breakthrough. Faith-driven action also transforms our mindset. When we act in faith, we shift from passivity and dependence on external circumstances to empowerment and active participation in God's plan. Action aligned with faith is not about forcing outcomes or controlling every detail. It is about positioning ourselves to receive the blessings, guidance, and favor that God has prepared. It changes the way we perceive challenges, setbacks, and delays, allowing us to see them as part of a purposeful process rather than obstacles to success. Each action, no matter how small, is a step toward fulfilling our divine calling and walking confidently into the doors God opens. Faith requires consistency. Opportunities often demand sustained effort, continued trust, and repeated steps in alignment with God's purpose. It is not enough to act once and expect the entire path to unfold. Faith-driven action is ongoing, deliberate, and persistent. It requires discipline, focus, and a commitment to align our actions with divine guidance continually. Each day that we act in faith, we reinforce the belief that God is orchestrating circumstances for our good, and we cultivate a momentum that propels us closer to the realization of our purpose. Ultimately, faith requires action because belief without movement cannot fully manifest God's promises. It is through active participation, perseverance, discernment, and courage that we walk through the doors He opens and step into the destiny prepared for us. Faith transforms uncertainty into opportunity, fear into courage, and potential into reality. Each step taken in trust and obedience is a declaration that we are willing to move in alignment with God's plan, confident that the doors He opens are purposeful, secure, and designed for our growth, blessing, and fulfillment. Faith is alive when it moves, acts, and steps boldly forward, and it is through such action that we truly experience the power, purpose, and promise of God's divine doors. Walking through God's door leads to your destiny, and understanding this truth is fundamental for anyone striving to live a life aligned with purpose and divine calling. Every opportunity, open door, or breakthrough that God provides is not random. It is carefully orchestrated to guide you toward the path He has designed specifically for you. Destiny is not merely a distant dream or abstract concept. It is the unfolding of God's plan in your life, a journey that moves you toward fulfillment, impact, and the realization of your unique purpose. When God opens a door, it is a direct invitation to step into the destiny that has been prepared for you, a path that aligns your gifts, passions, and calling with opportunities to make a meaningful difference. Understanding that walking through God's door leads to your destiny requires trust and obedience. It is not enough to simply recognize the door. You must step through it with confidence and faith. This action demonstrates your willingness to align with God's plan and participate in the unfolding of your purpose. Many people hesitate at the threshold of opportunity, distracted by fear, uncertainty, or doubt. Yet walking through requires courage, a recognition that God has prepared both the path and the provisions necessary for your journey. Each step through the door is a deliberate choice to embrace your calling, trust the process, and engage fully with the destiny that awaits you. Destiny unfolds through intentional alignment with God's guidance. The doors He opens are rarely accidental. They are positioned to connect you with the people, resources, and experiences that will propel you toward your purpose. Walking through these doors requires discernment, prayer, and spiritual awareness, as not every opportunity is meant for immediate action or final outcome. Some doors serve as preparation, others as testing grounds, and yet others as gateways to long-term fulfillment. By walking intentionally through the right doors, you align yourself with divine timing, ensuring that every step taken advances you toward your ultimate destiny. Every step through God's door is transformative. It changes your perspective, expands your vision, and cultivates growth in ways that cannot occur while standing on the threshold. Walking through requires engagement with the challenges, responsibilities, and opportunities that the path entails. Destiny is not simply about reaching a destination. It is about the process of becoming fully equipped to fulfill your purpose. Each door, each opportunity, and each challenge encountered along the way shapes your character, strengthens your resolve, and equips you to handle the responsibilities that accompany your calling. The journey itself is a vital part of the destiny you are stepping into. Walking through God's door also demands faith in the unseen. You may not have complete clarity about every detail of the path, but trust is essential to moving forward. Destiny often requires moving with confidence, even when the outcome is not fully visible. Each act of faith demonstrates obedience and belief that God's hand is guiding every step. The more we trust and walk forward, the more our path becomes illuminated, our purpose becomes clear, and our destiny unfolds in alignment with God's plan. Fear, hesitation, and doubt may arise, but they are obstacles that can be overcome through continued trust and action. The journey through God's door is also marked by opportunity for impact. Destiny is not solely about personal achievement. It is about fulfilling a calling that influences, inspires, and uplifts others. Every door God opens places you in positions to serve, lead, and make a difference. Walking through the door with intention allows your gifts and abilities to intersect with the needs of the world, creating a ripple effect that extends beyond personal fulfillment. Your destiny is inherently connected to purpose, driven action, and each step taken through God's door aligns your life with greater significance and contribution. Ultimately, walking through God's door leads to your destiny because it is a deliberate path set before you by divine design. It is a journey of trust, courage, obedience, and faith that transforms your life while positioning you to fulfill your unique calling. The doors He opens are markers along the path of purpose, guiding you to the people, opportunities, and experiences that will shape your future. By stepping forward, embracing the challenges, and moving with faith, you actively participate in the unfolding of your destiny. Every door is an invitation, every step is intentional, and every moment is part of the divine plan that leads you to the life you were created to live. Walking through God's door is not just an action. It is a commitment to pursue your purpose, embrace your calling, and step fully into the destiny that awaits, knowing that no one can close the doors God has opened for you.